In Georgia, another incident at a school.
This all unfolded earlier today at Appalachian High School in Winder, about an hour outside of Atlanta. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation identified the shooter as a 14-year-old student, Colt Gray. He is alive and in custody. Sources telling ABC News that he will be charged with murder and will be tried as an adult. Cell phone video shows the frightening moments after a gunman opened fire at Appalachian High School in Winder, just outside Atlanta today. And you can see the panic and fear among people inside that school. 2 students and 2 teachers were shot and killed. At least 9 others are in the hospital. It's not clear if they were shot or how severe their injuries are. At one point, when the school began to go into lockdown, text alerts were sent to students and parents. For the kids inside the school, some say it was pure panic as they sheltered in place and moved desks and chairs to block their classroom doors. Take a listen to some of the students' moments after they got off campus.
The teachers came in and they were like, everybody get on the floor, cover yourselves. Like, we were all like hugging each other. My friend was in that class when he had math period. She said like as soon as he opened the door, he got shot. I was scared. I had so much fear. Like, I'm still shaking.
We were in class and I heard like the shots. I heard it was like 5 or 6 shots and I might not get to see my family again. I mean, my brother again. I was scared that he might not make it out.
I said, son, please tell me you're joking. He said, no, Mom, I'm not joking. He said, they shooting in the school and the shooter is right across the hall from me.
Just terrifying. According to the director of the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, 2 school resource officers encountered the shooter within minutes of the first reported shots. We know the gunman is a student at the school. Authorities say he immediately surrendered and was taken into custody. Investigators are looking into a motive and to see if the victims were targeted. At this point, it's not clear what kind of gun was used or how the 14-year-old obtained the gun and got it onto that school.
There's a lot of things to unpack with this, man. There's a lot of discussions that need to be had. There's a lot of things that people need to talk about, but it's almost like we're at a cycle where this just continues to be a repeat thing. We just always see these things happen. All the politicians come on Twitter with their, prayers go out to the families or this affected, but nothing ever happens. Nothing ever happens. And it's because at the end of the day, people have their own agendas, right? People have other things to protect. People have lawmakers to protect. People have manufacturers to protect, organizations to protect. So a lot of that becomes a factor before anybody does anything that makes any sense. So suspect was interviewed for online threats of a school attack last year. And this is like the common thing that we see, man, a lot, is that normally when situations happen like this, there's breadcrumbs, right? Because there's pieces, there's things out there that could have told you that, there's an issue there. Like, threats should be taken serious, you know what I'm saying? And I know people are going to sit back and say, okay, what do you do with the kid? I mean, that's like a whole nother conversation, but it starts there with the threats, right? Because what normal kid is making threats of a school attack? And it just, you look at the situation, you ask yourself, how is a 14-year-old getting access to these weapons? We're talking about an AR, man, assault rifle. Says investigators said on Wednesday that the suspect at the Georgia high school had been interviewed more than a year ago by local law enforcement officials in connection to the threats made online of a school. The authorities were led to the suspect, Colt Gray, who was 13 at the time. Several anonymous tips in May 2023. Threats have been posted online on an online gaming site warning of a school shooting at an unidentified location and time. The threats included photographs of guns. Come on, man. This is what I'm saying, man. Like, if you make threats and you have photographs of guns, like, what are we really talking about there?
I got up, I started running, he started shooting like 10 times. He shot at least 10 times. And then I ran to the back of the classroom. I dived behind the desk. And my teacher had got in front of me, like he was guarding. But like the gunshots were so close to me, like my ears started ringing real bad. Like the whole classroom was smoking.
Now, you see how, like, they got kids doing interviews right after a tragic event like this. Like, this kid will remember this probably for the rest of his life. The fact that he went through this traumatic experience and immediately he's getting interviewed. And you could see in the kid that he hasn't fully processed this yet. This is immediately after a tragic event and witnessing this stuff, And it's kind of sad. It's crazy, like, that children gotta go through this because this has become the norm. This is normal now. People talk about this, they're gonna talk about this for a few days, and then where is it gonna go? It's pretty sad.
Like, and everything. And then when he finally got out of the classroom, my teacher started barricading the door with desks and bookshelves and all that. And then I had got up. When I had got up, I had saw one of my classmates on the ground bleeding so bad.
See? And this is what I mean. Like, this is tough. Like, you got kids going through this. And the other part about this is, man, you see him talk about it in this, and he talking about how his teacher was barricading the room, jumping in front of them, like shielding kids. And in America, it's so fucked up because we don't respect educators, man. Educators got so much shit they got to deal with, and we wonder why educators like don't really have like the passion to be educators, because you start to get people who have the passion and don't feel like that it's appreciated, so they leave the profession. You know, like the amount of dedication you got to have to be an educator and stay in the profession, a profession that is underappreciated by people. Like publicly, they're not appreciated for what they do verbally or monetarily. Like they're not paid enough. And we could say that everywhere. Educators are not paid enough and they need to be respected. It's a profession that needs to be respected. I don't understand how a country doesn't see how much of an investment education is for America. It's wild to me.
And then when I had moved myself to the other side of the room because the bookshelf I was hiding behind, it was right in front of the door. So I had moved to the other side, to like this side with my friend. And I was checking on my other friend because he got grazed in his leg. And then there was a white girl that was in front of me. She got shot in her leg and stuff. And then my other friend got shot in her stomach. And it was just so sad, stuff like that.
Listen, man. It's tough to see kids go through this, man. And especially for me, man, because I got kids in school and this ain't something you want to see when you sending your kids to school. Everybody out there who got kids, this is not something you want to see when you send your kids to school. When you send your kids to school, you're expecting your kids to go to school and come back without having to go through a traumatic moment. A lot of these schools now, their biggest thing now is worrying about kids having phones in school. You know, and to me, everything is always so backwards because that's what people want to focus on is phones in school. We're focusing on phones in school when there's kids who make threats online and have been approached and investigated about it, and they're allowed to come back to these schools and just mix in with all the other kids. Like, I don't get it. I really don't. I don't get it. I really don't. And it's such a sad situation, man. It's so sad.
You okay?
Yes, ma'am.
That's a lot to process.
Yeah.
And you're so young. You're how old?
14.
That's crazy. That's crazy. You could see that this kid hasn't fully processed it.
That's so much to have to process in class where you're supposed to feel safe.
Yeah.
How are you doing now? I mean, what's going through your mind?
Like, it just keep replaying back in my head. I just thank God that I wasn't the one that got hit, you know. Like, in the midst of all of it happening, I was just thanking God because, you know, he had his hands around me and stuff like that. Because I could have been the one that got hit because I was right there. He could have easily got me, but God had his hands around me.
Listen, shout out to that young man, man. That young man, even though it's a traumatic experience, and I don't 100% agree with interviewing these kids immediately after experience like that, he handled himself very well. And this is what kids are dealing with. We're talking about a 14-year-old, man, with access to an AR who took this into a school and did this. Come on, man. Like, what are we talking about? And this is where we're at, where a 14-year-old can do this, can have the mindset to want to do this. And this is also a 14-year-old that was investigated before for threats in 2023, and a whole year passes by. And this kid is in school with everybody else, just in the mix, chilling. It says a lot about where we at, man. Where we at, we're in a dangerous place. And the problem that I have with this is people are going to see this and it's going to go away in a couple days. It's going to be on to the next one. It's going to go away in a couple days. Everybody's going to forget what happened. And listen, don't get me wrong. I'm a big component on the right to bear arms. But there's a lot of people who bear arms and are idiots. There's a lot of people out there who bear arms and are irresponsible, where kids have access to these guns. And that's one of the biggest issues I have with the right to bear arms. Some people just aren't fit to do it. It's a big responsibility. Listen, man, I'm licensed to carry, right? In several states. And for me, I know the difference between somebody who's on the teetering of being irresponsible and somebody who's not. I feel like the most responsible gun owners do not want to go around letting everybody know that you carry a gun. I don't have stickers on my car telling people I carry a gun. I don't have no crazy holsters so that you can see it through my shirt. I'm not wearing it outside of my shirt. I don't want you to know that. I don't want anybody to know that. And I feel like there's a lot of people out there who want to show people that they carry, who want to flash it. And you could disagree with me, but I feel like those are the guys that teeter around the irresponsible owners. And that's on a whole nother tangent, but where we're at, it's a scary place, man. We're talking about kids in a school, and then you have kids in the school that got to sit and interview to recount what they just went through, a traumatic situation. And it's just sad because people are going to forget about it. It's going to go away. It's going to go away. And it's going to go away because these other ones have gone away. And all these people do is sit back and say, my prayers go out to the families. You know, it's sad, man. It's sad that we got to talk about it. It's sad that we got to bring it out there. And for me, I don't know. Nobody wants to send their kids to school and get a text that they're on lockdown, you know? And the scariest part is a lot of these schools are implementing this no cell phone policy where you have to put your cell phones away for the entire school day to keep people focused. But how are we worrying about kids having cell phones before we figure out situations like this? And you know, thank God there were school resource officers on duty on campus. And also the other side, thank God that this kid surrendered, because we all know this could have been 100 times worse. So where this is gonna go is gonna be interesting. And I know they're swiftly gonna make this kid an example by charging him as an adult and charging him with murder. But the other side of that is that's somebody's child as well at 14. So then that debate comes up as well. Is he mentally aware of what he's doing at 14? Obviously he knows that guns can kill, but that's gonna have to be a discussion too, man. And it's sad at 14 to see this kid throw his life away, man. And at 14, dog, this is wild, man. And I always go back to this, man. Parenting, people, when you out here having kids, make sure that you're doing your best to instill the best values in your kids, man. You see this young kid at 14, he had the wherewithal and the values to know to thank God, because he know it could have easily been him. So I just say, people out there having kids, I know a lot of y'all out there busting out kids left and right, but y'all gotta be good role models. Y'all gotta be good parents. Even those who don't have kids, you gotta be good mentors, be good uncles, aunts, big sisters, brothers, nieces, whatever, man, for these kids, and instill these morals in these kids so they don't have to crash out like this. That man's whole life is thrown away at 14, and he didn't even know what was ahead of him. He could have easily gotten out of this mode, but who knows what he was going through at home? Who knows how many times he tried to talk to somebody? Who knows how many times he tried to reach out? It's so easy to say, yeah, crucify the kid, but 14 is crazy, man. There's so many things that got to be considered, and a lot of people are angry because of the situation, but the fact of the matter just remains, what the are we gonna do about it? We joke a lot on this channel, but I always try to take the time to try to cover the things that I see happening. I know it's not something that a lot of people jump onto or grip onto to go watch, because I know people want to be entertained, you know, people want to, you know, laugh, people want to enjoy themselves on YouTube, and they don't want to see anything negative. There's some people that want to be informed, and I want to make sure that I provide content for everyone, and also at the same time I want to make sure that I share my thoughts with you all, because that's what I'm here for. Whether it's me sharing my jokes or whether it's me sharing what I think, like, that's the whole point, man, to be vulnerable and allow, you know, myself to share those things with you guys and share thoughts and comments with you all. I hate that I had to like talk about it. I hate that these kids gotta live through this traumatic experience. These kids gotta deal with going through this, and especially for the kids that were in close proximity of it. It's crazy, but let me know how y'all feel about it. If you're in Georgia, close to this school, let me know what you know about it. Go down in the comment section. What can we do to like stop this? Or what can we do to make the school safer? goods.